Hi, I'm Andrea Collins, MD of SME Resource. We're a company that provides advice, support and solutions to UK-based SMEs and startups who are looking to grow their revenues and their profitability. Our services are based on many years' experience in several different fields, but primarily they encompass marketing support, sales enablement, customer acquisition and retention, staff engagement and international trade support. And it's international trade that I wanted to discuss today. I want to discuss the challenges that this can bring to SMEs and the kind of resource that's out there at their disposal. The UK has been losing market share to the rest of the world now for decades. Our exports have been growing at a much slower pace, and the Eurozone, our largest single trading partner, has experienced slow growth since the Eurozone crisis in 2011. Now, it stands to reason that our export growth is going to correlate closely to the economic performance of our destination market. So I guess what I'm saying is that whilst the Eurozone should remain an important trading partner for the UK, there's huge global opportunity beyond that. And a global outlook has never been more important for UK SMEs. It may seem on the face of it like the UK has a large domestic market, but the truth is sectors are becoming saturated and it can be difficult to generate sufficient revenue in the face of very stiff competition from both domestic and international companies. Tapping into overseas territories, however, significantly expands an SME's scope for growth, both in terms of revenue and profits. If international trade was easy, we'd all be doing it. We'd all have been doing it for decades now. The fact of the matter is, researching a new market and setting up an export operation is human capital heavy. Pressures on production, capacity, skill sets, resource are significant, and companies can spend months recruiting staff with the right skill sets or training up and supporting existing staff to be able to fulfill the requirements that international trade brings. There was a very interesting piece of research published by the CEBR towards the end of last year, which included statistics from a YouGov poll entitled Voice of SMEs, and the survey explored the different barriers to entry that UK SMEs had faced across a number of different territories. Now, unsurprisingly, the degree to which each barrier was experienced differed depending on the trading region, but prominently across all territories, the barriers that were experienced the most were language and cultural, regulatory, statutory and compliance, and a lack of exporting know-how. So that was across the board, regardless of the territory. Now, I think when you look at that and you also consider the time pressures and the challenges that UK SMEs have in their domestic market, it becomes less surprising really that exporting hasn't been a priority for many. But the fact is that the success of UK SMEs both at home and abroad is hugely significant for the UK economy. After all, we make up 99% of all UK businesses. And we might just see that Brexit provides the catalyst for the UK negotiating stronger trade ties with the rest of the world, making it easier for SMEs to deal with countries beyond Europe. In fact, Brexit shouldn't dissuade anybody from embarking on international trade, especially if we have in our portfolio those products and services that allow us to capitalise on the wealth generation and increased consumer spending that we're seeing in these emerging high growth markets like China, like Indonesia, Ghana, Vietnam and India. There is certainly demand for UK products and services beyond our shore, and never more so than in these emerging high growth markets, and UK SMEs would do well to position themselves to capitalise on this. If we look to Germany for some inspiration, the country operates a trade account surplus of the equivalent of 7.5% of GDP, whereas the UK operates a trade deficit of the equivalent of 5.2% of GDP. Germany considers its SMEs as its hidden champions. These small and medium-sized enterprises have gone out into the world and created these niche markets around the globe. They are rarely the cheapest, but they differentiate through quality, and quality is exactly where UK SMEs need to be pitching their products and services. We differentiate through quality. Research commissioned by Barclays Corporate Banking showed that particularly in these emerging high growth markets, the label Made in Britain is perceived as being quality, and people are willing to pay up to 7% of a price premium for a product or service that originates from Britain. So whilst the cultural, the language, the regulatory barriers to entering these markets cannot be underestimated, there is significant opportunity for UK SMEs beyond the domestic market, beyond the Eurozone and beyond the US. And I think the benefit of a well-designed export strategy and plan and a successful launch in these markets promises a significant return for UK SMEs. So SME Resource recently launched the Export Department, and the Export Department in a nutshell is a resource for UK-based SMEs looking to either embark on international trade for the first time or looking to expand into different territories. With more than 20 years international trade and market research experience, it was something we'd considered doing for a while, but actually ended up doing in direct response to feedback from a number of small businesses who told us that they had a desire to export, but they felt that their efforts are constrained by a lack of resource, a lack of exporting know-how, and importantly a lack of time. Now what the Export Department does is it enables SMEs to outsource elements of, or indeed all of their exporting activity to us, freeing up their time to focus on their core business and priorities, and importantly their domestic market. So what are the advantages? Well, there are several, but perhaps the most salient ones are the following. So knowledge and experience. Companies have immediate access to knowledgeable expert resource well versed in international trade, strategy and planning. Speed to market. We have the resource to begin the exporting journey immediately. We hit the ground running and get propositions to market quickly. And cost efficiency. When you factor in recruitment, loaded employee costs, training and support, the Export Department is a very attractive and cost-effective alternative to setting up exporting capability in-house. Scalability and competitive advantage. We provide a level of scalability that helps smaller companies compete more effectively with their larger counterparts, both domestic and international. And mitigation of risk. As with all new ventures, expanding internationally carries an element of risk. Our experience has made us very adept at avoiding these risks and effectively managing them in areas where they cannot be avoided. And finally, efficiency gains while governance is maintained. Our clients retain full steer and budgetary control over the direction of their international operation. We advise on the best course of action and we deliver per the agreed plan, but it remains our client's business. So there are enormous efficiency gains while governance is maintained. As with everything we do, we are entirely flexible in terms of how we engage with our clients. You may simply need some straightforward advice and support to get you started. You may want us to help research your target market and help you devise a strategy and a plan, or you may be looking at us as an extension of your business managing all of your exporting activity. We are as happy acting in a mentoring capacity as we are managing an entire export project from market research through to market entry and fulfilment. We simply believe there's a significant opportunity for UK SMEs to make their mark on this challenging international scene, and we're 100% committed to helping them achieve that. Now, what that help looks like will depend very much on what your needs and what your requirements are. We would love the opportunity to discuss your exporting ambitions and help you make them a reality. So if exporting is on your agenda, please do get in touch, and details of how you can do that are coming up in just a second. And I'd just like to say thank you for your time today. Bye.